Hi guys, today I thought I'd do a makeup tutorial. Now I've never actually done one of these before, so this is my first one. I have actually filmed a few but just ended up not putting them up because they weren't very good. But now I've got lighting and everything and I've got a much better setup, so I thought today's the day, so I'm going to do one. I'm going to do a look that I used last night when I was going out with friends, and it's quite a dark smoky look, but it's very easy and really only uses like 3 eyeshadows, so it's quite an easy eye look. For the lips I've gone for a nude lipstick, which I thought was quite nice with the bold eyes, and then I'll show you the base while we're doing it. Let's get started. Well, I'm going to start with my base. I've already cleansed my skin and taken care of any blemishes that I've got. I've got a few up here in my normal area. So I'm going to start by using Benefit's Porefessional. I absolutely love this primer. It really does make your makeup last a lot longer, and I just put a little pea-sized amount on the back of my hand and kind of just put it in the areas that I feel need it that day. Sometimes this changes. At the moment I'm basically putting it down the middle of my face and then a little bit on each lid, just to make sure that they're primed as well for the eyeshadow. So once we've done that, I go on to my foundation, and I'm using the Revlon Colour Stay foundation, and this is in the colour 150 Buff. Now this doesn't come with a pump, which drives me crazy, so I just kind of put it on the back of my hand and then tip it back up again, and that's normally an okay amount. Sometimes I tip a little. Anyway, once I've got some on the back of my hand, or a lot on the back of my hand, I just like to add L'Oreal's Lumi Magique foundation, just to add a little bit of luminosity. Not that I really need any more product on the back of my hand, but hey ho. And then I'm going to use my Real Techniques Beauty Blender. I just mix that in on the back of my hand and then wipe off all the excess because there's way too much product on there. And I kind of just start buffing it into my face really using the sponge. I really love this sponge. It's basically like the Sephora Beauty Blender, but a lot more affordable version. I think these are about £6, so I prefer them to using a brush because you just get more of a flawless look. You don't get any brush streaks in it like you would with a brush, and it is a little bit more time consuming, but if you've got the time then it's worth it because you're going to get a much better result with your foundation. Okay, next step is concealer, and the concealer that I like to use is the Lasting Perfection concealer by Collection. Now mine is in the shade Fair 1 because I like my under eye concealer to be slightly lighter than my foundation, just to kind of give a sort of a highlighting look and just to make my eyes look a little bit brighter. So I just use the doe foot applicator to make a triangle shape under my eye. And this is just really going to brighten up our under eye area. I put a little bit down the nose and on the top of my forehead, over any blemishes that I've got, a little bit around my nose and on my chin. Then I just use a beauty blender from Avon, which is a lot more like the original Sephora one because it doesn't have this flat-sided top like the Real Techniques one does. And I prefer to use this for my concealer because one, it's a different sponge so it doesn't mix my foundation colour with my concealer colour, and two, it has the pointy tip so it's a lot easier to do my under eyes with. Okay, so that's that done. Now we need to set all of this to make sure it doesn't budge anywhere, and I like to use my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. As you can see, this is very well loved. It doesn't even say the name on it anymore, and I've more than hit pan on it. So I'm just going to use this with my Real Techniques contour brush. Now I know this is a contour brush, but it's just got that fantastic tapered shape which is really useful when powdering under the eye. So I'm just setting all those places where I've used the concealer just to make sure it doesn't budge and doesn't crease. Okay, next up I'm going to contour. Now this is a little bit of a tricky step. You kind of have to know your face quite well, and it isn't going to be the same for everyone. Now I like to use this, which is the Maybelline Master Sculpt in the shade 02 Medium Dark. Now I know I'm definitely not medium dark, and I'm a very fair skinned person, but when I was swatching these in the drugstore, the light one was so light that it barely showed up on my skin. And I know contour should look very natural and shouldn't show up on your skin, but the light one was literally like a translucent powder on me. So I went with the medium dark. I'm not sure if there's one darker than this for deeper skin tones, but this is what I ended up going with. And I'm going to use it with a Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Now the reason I like to use this is because it's quite a narrow brush, and it's good to just get in the hollows of the cheeks. So I'm just going to pick up the product, tap off any excess because you want it to look natural, and find that bit where, if you feel your cheekbone, find that bit just where it ends, and you can feel the little gap in between, and that's where we're going to put the contour. Now just mark it out at first, and then you can blend it. And what it should look like is a very, very faint shadow, so that when I look at you straight on, once I've finished, my cheekbones will look more prominent. As you can see, it looks like a shadow rather than product, which is exactly what you want. And as you can see, it just looks like a very natural shadow, so that when I look at you straight on, this side should look like it's got a more prominent cheekbone. It won't look too much because I've tried to make it look as natural as possible. But this side, you might just be able to notice the cheekbone slightly more prominent to this side, where this side looks more straight down. So that's kind of the look we're going for, a very natural shadow. I just like to mark it out and look straight on and see if it's in the right place, and if it is, add a little bit more product and then start blending that out. Sometimes I just like to take it up into the forehead just so that it's not just there. Whoa! Hi! This comes with a brush. Who knew that? I'm also going to take it under my jaw just to make that a little bit more prominent too. I have quite a prominent jaw on this side, and then like this side just does not want to be so prominent. So this side needs a little bit more help. And I just use this just to create like that look of a shadow. And then where I put the concealer down the middle of my nose, that gives the highlighted effect, and at the sides we just need to give the contour effect to finish that part off. So I'm just going to very lightly skim the sides and just at the very tip. Next up I'm going to use blush. Now the blush I've been using lately is by Collection, which is quite a affordable brand. This was like $2.99 or something, and this is their Gorgeous Glow blush in number 1. That's an original name. I'm going to use this with my Real Techniques. All my brushes are Real Techniques apart from like 2, by the way. Real Techniques Duo Fibre Face Brush. Now the reason why I like to use this is because the bristles at the end aren't as dense as they are at the base, which means you get a little bit more of a subtle product. What's that word I'm looking for? Distribution. Distribution. I'm just going to buff this over my cheeks. Just a little bit. It is quite shimmery, so I'm not overly keen on it. Even though I knew it had shimmer in when I bought it, but hey ho, it was $2.99 and I was like, buy again. Next up, I'm going to go into brows, and I've recently been using this brow pencil by Sleek. And I don't know the name of it, it doesn't even have any writing on the packaging, apart from it's the colour medium. Now at one end there is a spoolie brush, so I'm going to use that just to groom my brows into place. have quite sparse hairs at the front of my brow, so I like to fill them in more. But I'm only using this pencil just to give a base for the powder that I'm going to use. Once I've done that, I like to use the Makeup Academy Pro Brow Ultimate Eye Kit. I'm using this brush by Avon, and it's actually a gel eyeliner angled brush, but it just works really well for my eyebrows, so I'm using it for that. And what I like to do is I don't start at the beginning, I leave that until the end, because that bit's more time consuming. I just like to use tiny little strokes, just to define my brows a little bit more. Carry on with those little strokes, following basically how my natural hairs grow. And that's kind of all I do for my eyebrows, really. I kind of just define them and then add a little bit more where I don't have it, which is at the beginning. But obviously that's up to you how you do yours, because everybody's face is different and this shape might not suit your face. I just thought I'd let you know what products I use. Now I'm going to do the other eyebrow. Voila! Right, now onto my favourite part, the eyeshadow. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. I'm going to start with my Makeup Academy Naturals palette, and this one is called Undressed. And I'm going to be using this matte dark brown shade right here as a base for the eyeshadow look. I'm going to be applying this with my Real Techniques Duo Fibre eye brush. I'm just going to pick up some of the product, tap off any excess, and just basically sweep it over my eyelid just as a base. Once I am done with that, I'm going to go into my Naked 2 palette by Urban Decay, and using a Real Techniques detail brush, which is a very small flat sort of pointed brush, I'm going to be taking the colour Blackout, which is this one. Now I'm just going to be applying this very close to the lash line, and I am not taking this up to my crease. And I won't go any higher than that. So I won't go any higher than the width of the brush. Now the reason for that is I'm going to blend it out. And if I'm blending something out, it means it's going to go higher anyway. So if I already put it on too high, then by the time it's blended out, it's going to be 3 times higher than what I wanted it to be. And I'm also not taking it too close to the corner, because like I said, I'm going to blend it that way. So if I took it too close, it would go past my eye. So once you've done that, I'm just going to take my Real Techniques base shadow brush. This is a little bit like a MAC 217 brush. It's just a fluffy but quite dense at the bottom brush. And I'm going to take a tiny little bit of that matte brown again. Very, very small bit, just to help blend this out. And I'm going to blend out that black. Now this is quite time consuming, so just take your time. So I'm just blending that out with that fluffy brush until I get it how I want it. Then I'm going to go back with the Duo Fibre brush and just take that through the crease, just to make sure that that's all blended out too. I'm then going to go back into my Naked 2 palette, and I'm going to dip into the colour Verve, which is this nice silver. And I'm going to do that with a Real Techniques accent brush, which is a very, very small flat pack brush. I'm just going to pack some of that on, tap off any excess, and take that into the very corners, just to add a little bit of light in there really. I'm then going to take this flat packing brush by Avon, which is just a small narrow flat pack brush, and I'm going to take the colour Snakebite, which is a dark metallic brown, and I'm going to take that underneath my lower lash line. I don't want to use the black because I feel like that's too dark. So that's why I'm using this dark brown, just to sort of smoke it out under there too, to bring the look together, but not so dark that it just is too much. Okay, so that's the shadow on both eyes done. Now I'm just going to finish off the eye look. I'm going to start by tightening my top waterline with just a basic black eyeliner pencil. And the way I do this is I angle the pencil up, and it may look a little bit weird, but I just draw across the bottom of the lash line. I'm then going to use Benefit's Roller Lash Mascara because this just gives my lashes a nice separated and natural look, but still adding volume and length. And then for the bottom lashes, I'm not going to use the Roller Lash because it's a little bit too much of a wet mascara to use on the bottom lashes, and I don't like my mascara to print on my lash line. So I'm just going to use an almost dried up Maybelline The Falsies mascara, just because this brush has natural bristles instead of plastic ones. Okay, and last but not least is the lips. I'm going to be doing a nude lip look, like I said, and I'm going to be using the Max Factor Colour Elixir lip liner in the colour Brown and Nude. I'm just going to line my lips using this. I like to sort of pronounce my Cupid's bow a little bit more than it already is. But I tend not to overline my lips at all, really. So now my lips are ready and primed to have lipstick on them, and the lipstick I'm going to be using is the Rimmel London, and this is from the Kate Moss collection, and this is the colour 03, which is this gorgeous sort of browny mauve, but it comes out really nice on the lips. So this is the finished look, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really love this black smoky eye look, and it's so easy to do. I hope you try it out and let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.